accident, for that is what the family thereafter referred to it as, an accident, a man simply cleaning his gun, Josephine McCann had already sent a steamer trunk to Paris in preparation for a season with her daughter Angeline on the continent. That voyage was cancelled, the trunk recalled. Without means, the McCann women found themselves stuck in Palmetto, South Carolina. The financial snarl untangled, the fortune unspooled, and the McCann women's property shrank to a dot on the map to a single address: Amaranth, a staid Victorian at the edge of town, built on a whim a decade previously, on land McCann had purchased purely for its rich, well-drained soil, fierce fecundity, and eastern light. At Amaranth, the widow Josephine insisted decorum remain. Linen napkins, yellowed as old teeth, were used at all meals, as well as a few remaining pieces of silverware, the handles heavy as guns. In time, daughter Angeline, who had not been a debutante, having lost that privilege along with other trappings, settled for a young soldier as a husband, a doughboy. The poor soul lost his mind on the battlefields of France and never found it again. Angeline moved from her brief newlywed venture back into Amaranth with her mother. 6 months later, Emma arrived, born into a household of women pining for escape, who continued to insist they were trapped in a decidedly lower station in life, a station from which there was no leaving the town, at least not in any sort of civilized fashion. But that was going to change, finally. For on this unseasonably warm April morning, nearly 8 decades after her grandfather's firearm mishap, Emma Hanley, 72, found herself just days away from embarking on a journey of a lifetime. The trip, as her husband Harold referred to it, often while rolling his eyes, a cruise to Europe. That was the year spring rushed through the town, barely stopping. By April, a morning stroll produced clammy sweat at the nape of one's neck, a sure sign of an approaching brutal summer. But this harbinger of a merciless season did not overly concern the people of Palmetto, as it would have years before, back when a cruel season made airless, lint-filled mills suffocating, left crops dead, farmers unpaid, and children unfed. Now there was central air, office jobs and grocery stores. Cable television brought news all day and all night, reports that the Berlin Wall might soon fall, rumors that the Japanese were buying up Hawaii, hotel by hotel. There was a rosy-cheeked president well into his 7th decade, for whom Emma Hanley did not much care, though she did find some use for him. When Harold protested that Emma and he were too old to take the trip, she reminded her husband that the leader of the free world, a man for whom Harold had twice voted, was even older. That was the spring when Emma's life took a dramatically new course, and it all started that Saturday morning in April 1987, a day when Emma was happier than she'd been in years, studying her itinerary, wondering about comfortable shoes and all-weather cloaks, peering at her husband across the stack of maps and photos guides on the dining room table, nodding pleasantly as he announced he would soon be heading to the biscuit basket for his daily coffee clutch. For in the last few weeks, travel plans had brought to the Hanley marriage an unexpected spirit of compromise. Nowadays, when Harold sucked his teeth or stayed too long at his breakfasts, all Emma had to do was think of the trip, and a thrill like harpstrings would thrum inside her, and she would be happy again. "Look here at this mess," Harold said now, holding up the morning newspaper. "No respect for the dead." Emma glanced up from the brochure she was reading on converting foreign currency. "Cemetery vandals strike again," the headline on the front page of the Palmetto News screamed, and there was a picture of the general himself, festooned with toilet paper and what appeared to be Hawaiian leis, looking, appropriately enough, drunk and rakish. Behind the statue, streamers drooped over the rusty iron spires of Springforth. Harold studied the article. When he read silently, his lips moved. "Says here kids done it," he said. "Teenagers and their parties." He shook his head. "Perhaps someone at Town Hall will remember now to fix them."